All the content contained in this webcast is for informational purposes only. The investments and strategies contained in this webcast may not be suitable for you. Please consult your own independent financial advisor before making any investment or trading decisions. Good morning, traders and investors around the world, and welcome to Monday morning post-Greek election edition of Premarketinfo.com, where we prepare you for the most important hour of the day, the first hour. Well, Dennis, we didn't know who was going to win the election, but it seems like the markets did the way they acted on Friday.
Seemed really priced in there. Obviously, the market, even the last 2 days, really running up ahead of these elections. I think it was priced in here, Joel. I think obviously the market topped out. We were up over 10 points after hours, but we've given all of that back. We're down a total of 5, so we basically have pulled back 15 points since the overnight high.
Really interesting area that we're trading at, Dennis, just a few points below. This 1335 area, as I've identified, is the key level for the entire week, Dennis. We're just not talking about a day. We're talking about a week. We've had a break in the S&Ps in the front month contract from 1413 and a quarter down to 1255.50. Don't like to look at a lot of Fibonacci's or retracement numbers, but I do pay attention to the 50% retracement. That's at the 1334 and a quarter level. We'll call it 1335. It's paramount that this market holds in at this level right here, 1335, in order to have the next leg up to 1360. If we can't hold here, we could go right back down to that 1300 level. And I don't know if I want to go down there for the fifth time in 7 days. But anyways, the news on the Greek elections, mixed results with the European banks.
Yeah, it was, and obviously some of these European banks really had a nice run up on Friday ahead of the elections. Barclays was straight up. You can look at it here on the charts all day Friday, so it's baked in. The stock is pulling back and giving back a lot of those gains today, trading 12.45 here this morning. Other European banks having a similar result.
Okay, Barclays. It's so hard to trade these things with the primary market being overseas. Gonna come back down here. It looks to test the $12 level. Had a few tops right around that area for busted out. So come back. I look for some consolidation at $12.
I don't think it's going to get that far today, but yeah, this 12.45. You had a low there too, 12.43, 12.45. Then you got a little gap area, but. We're peeling back a bit here. I don't know if some of these other stocks like Barclays, if you're going to find buyers here eventually. I think you are starting to find a little bit in the pre-market here, though, Joel.
Okay, so if you talk about a stock and you think it's going up, and you talk about it long enough, eventually it goes up. What stock do you think I'm talking? What stock you think I'm talking about?
You're talking about Facebook, aren't you? You were pumped and all the way down. You've been kind of bullish. Well, you've stayed bullish at least, and you now are right here, Joel. And I'll give you props. At least on Thursday, you were saying we were both talking just online, and you were saying how this stock, when it got to 28 bucks and started breaking out over there, it's not going to see 27.5 again. I was hoping I'd get a pullback to buy it. I didn't. The stock obviously broke out, is in full breakout mode now. $28. Broke out straight to 29, peeled back a little bit, then straight up to 30. So this stock is rocking and rolling here. We didn't get the upgrade like we suspected that we might over the weekend, but stock has a lot of momentum going right now.
Okay, I'm looking for some short-term quants to be surrounding this $30 level. We did stop at 30.10 on Friday with a 30.01 close. It's very important that we hold in this $30 level for a couple days. Looking at the charts, there's really not a whole heck of a lot in the book until 31.69. So we'll see if we'll get the old Dennis. Well, I guess it would be a 3-day move. The Thursday move wasn't nearly as impressive as the Friday move. Talking about a stock going from one that's making a nice move to another one that's just winding itself into a frenzy here. What is going to go on with Apple Computer this week?
Wow, yeah, Apple, like we've been saying, is consolidating. It's a crazy range. It's been consolidating here for about 5, 6, 7 sessions, just tightening up 568 on the downside, 576 really on the upside. It can't decide which way it wants to go. Eventually, it's going to make a break one way or the other because Apple isn't going to stay and keep staying in a 4 or 5 point range here. It's just a matter of I'd probably go with the flow. If it starts to break out, starts trading 580, maybe it does make a run for that 600 area. But if it starts to break down below 565, I'd get real nervous if I was long it.
Yeah, 572.33 is where it's bottom here in the pre-market. Made a high at over 575 at 575.15 at 410 this morning. Was that you up there, Dennis, selling it at 575 at 4 this morning or not?
No, it wasn't me there. It wasn't me on this one.
But if you look at this Apple chart, just it almost looks like a penny stock here, the way it's been trading in the last few days. Unreal consolidation. I'll go with your parameters on that. If this thing can get above 575, I think we're going to rip roar back up to 600. We break below this 565, then of course there's the lows in the move. But it's amazing to see this kind of consolidation in a stock this big. Moving on to a stock that had a nice breakout on Friday. We'd been looking at that 29.50 level, and Mr. Softy got a boost and got up to $30.
Yeah, Microsoft just took off through 29.50, broke out, never looked back, got up in that psychological $30 handle, trading 30.03 right now, so it's kind of just trading there in a tight range. This morning they're expected to announce a tablet with Barnes & Noble. Barnes & Noble getting a nice lift off this. This news was expected, though, so I don't think Barnes & Noble, surprisingly, is actually trading up pretty significantly off of it, even though the news, I think, was more widely expected. It is trading 16.24 right now, so Barnes & Noble is getting a good lift. Microsoft isn't. But look at this Barnes & Noble chart, though, Joel. 25. Remember that day back where we're looking late April when the stock just gapped up all the way up to, what was that high there, 26 bucks, and that was when they announced that was that the day that they announced the agreement, like that they were doing something with Microsoft.
Yeah, the Microsoft, I wouldn't know, was pumping like 300 million into it. I think that it even traded higher in the pre-market to 26 bucks. I think it traded like 28.
Yeah, I think it did too. Ridiculous.
And if you had a nads to short it, it certainly was something that just was unreal. I mean, they make an investment. Does that mean it's going to automatically be accretive to earnings? And I just think some shorts just got flossed on that. Now we've had the pullback. Trying to fill the gap back to this $14 area, 13.70 is where it's gapped up. But now with this news, it looks like it's having a little run up. But there's a just good lesson that when you get a 10-point move in a stock, really based on fundamentals, but nothing that really changes the earnings outlook. You just got to use those opportunities to take profits.
Yeah, you do. But we always talk about stocks filling gaps, and obviously when the stock gapped up that day, the prior day was trading at 13.70, gaps up to 26 bucks. Yeah, the huge gap to fill. And look, it took 2 months, but almost filled the entire gap there. Got as low as 14.56, so it didn't quite fill the gap, but pretty darn close to filling the entire gap when you talk about a 12-point gap up day. But the stock is now, it has found a little bit of a base here the last couple of weeks, and now that now that it's anticipated that they're going to announce a tablet with Microsoft, it is getting a lift here this morning.
Yeah, real spotty trades in that also, really no real volume.
800 shares.
Yeah, talking about fundamentals ruling the technicals, what about the move in J&J last week?
That stock is just unbelievable. I can't believe this move. I kept thinking, the whole number is going to stop it, the whole number is going to stop it. But they obviously announced that merger was going to be accretive to earnings a little bit sooner than they thought. And 3 analysts got on the bandwagon, I think it was on Wednesday, all upgraded the stock. So everybody just basically jumping on the J&J bandwagon. This is a huge move for a very low beta stock, and it is running into serious resistance. I know I've said that last week. It is getting the top. Maybe it's just going to keep making me look like a fool. Maybe you just got a bias and it's going to go up forever. I don't know. But these two tops, 66.32 was a major area. You had a top back in February 1st at 66.32, and then you had another top at 66.32 on trying to grab the date, or 66.30 just on April the 2nd. So this whole 66.30 area has some serious resistance. If it gets through there, the whole number still has size sellers there. I see size up at $67, but I think your first stopping point might be that whole 66.30 area.
Yeah, not only did it top out around 66 in the months you mentioned, it also did it in August of last year, September of last year,
Look at it.
just shy of
Yep.
that of October, and in January. Now, looking at the longer term charts, that is a definition of resistance. Now, what I'm looking for in this stock is how long can it hold 66? What the last few times that it's got up to this area, similar formation, it didn't hang out there very long.
Now they
And yeah, and it it teased you for a day or two, but if it doesn't get up and get above the 66.30 in a heartbeat, you gotta imagine that there's some people that have been buying it since mid-March are going to be looking to take some profits.
Well, anybody that's bought this stock really in the last year here, we're almost at. Are we at a 52-week high? We're pretty close. 66.32. Would
No,
that be a
no.
52-week high? 66.32 though. What is the
Let's
52-week high
see
on
here.
this?
No, it did have this little bump up in July of
Yeah,
2011 when
yeah,
you were
right.
out for 4th of July. It got up to 60. No, you don't have that, right? 68.05 is where it's
Okay.
hit, but since then it's just been stymied at the 66.30 level. I can't put enough emphasis of how great a number that stock is.
That number is huge on this, but it's got a lot of momentum, and sometimes when stocks got momentum, they do take it out. If this thing started to take out that 66.32, get up to 66.50, I think I'd get pretty nervous to stay short the stock, but maybe you try it. It gets up to 66.20, maybe you try it, maybe that level holds. If it doesn't hold, though, get out because it can obviously open up after that, but that's a big number.
Okay, when I'm looking at this GE chart, I keep thinking that I'm looking at a monthly because of the move that it's had over the last 2 weeks. From what a stealth move here from 18 to
Yeah,
20.
yeah.
Is this sustainable for General Electric?
I don't know, but the stock has had a nice move here. 2 point move on this stock is a huge move. Like, look at where we really are from the dailies. We bottomed out here just 2 weeks ago at $18. We're trading up actually at 20. I don't know why the closest 1972 closed at $20, right on the button. 20 has some size there. I see 20.05 some size. It's going to be thick right in the early 20s. If it can start getting up over 20, then maybe it continues its run. But I think the high frequency guy is going to be trying to put a lid on it, probably in the whole 1998, 1999 area. They love to lean on those big psychological whole numbers, $20, and I do see some institutional selling pressure there too. So wouldn't surprise me if this thing tops out early in the high 19s. If it starts to take out 2010, then all bets are off.
Okay, just going back to the theme we talked about in a few stocks last week, it was primarily IBM making all those bottoms in the 192 area. Just amazing to see that kind of consolidation. You know that at least one group or two group or three or four institutions are working a piece. That whole 192 area, now we're $6 away for it. But folks, when you identify those kind of technical formations, you really have to take advantage of them because what they do is they provide for low risk entries. Similar to CVX, I mean, $100 stock making five lows within
Crazy.
50 cents. I
Yep.
mean, right around that nice round number. I'm not gonna dish you about your whole number theories anymore.
Those whole number theories work, I think. And a lot of times what it is, like it'll be at 100, and people just throw in, they're lazy. They throw in, that whole number, $100. Buy me some at 100, buy me some at 100, or stop me out below 100. And sometimes, they take them through those whole numbers just by a few cents, just to catch those stops. Because some people say, oh, if it gets under 100, get me out, put a stop in there. So a lot of times you'll see them just tick through those whole numbers just to catch those people, and then it turns around and goes the other way. So it's not a perfect science, but a lot of times those stocks do make tops or bottoms around those whole numbers, often a few cents through them. So, and Chevron, wow, though, what do we say? That's a quintuple bottom or quintuple.
Yes.
I still don't know if we know how to pronounce it right, but 5 bottoms there. Stock made an awesome base. If this thing starts to pull back, you've got to think there's going to be some buyers. Just looking at the technicals, like you all had this whole thing, and I always like this, where the stock really peeled down in May, bottomed at the beginning of June. We gapped up, got to the 100, consolidated for 6, 7 sessions. Now we're gapping up again. I don't see a heck of a lot on the chart. A little bit at 105 might be a little bit of a hiccup, but if it peels back and gets in the low 100s, I think there's buyers all over the place down there.
Okay. For some reason, and just a familiar theme, when retailers come out with bad news, they just get punished.
Do they ever? DSW. That's it. These retailers, when they, and that's what's happened this morning. DSW is lowering guidance. When these things come out and lower guidance, these retailers, just like last week and the week before, there seems to always be a retailer disaster in the news. And DSW is going to be the disaster stock. It looks like of the day. It's down $7 right now, trading at 51. Not a lot of volume though, so you got to keep that in mind. 53, only 3,100 shares traded. It is actually bid at 52. So it's going to be hard to say where this one bottoms. Interesting enough, you look at the chart in April, we had a bottom at 51.84. We're bid 52.01. Maybe that holds off the hop. $50 will be a big psychological number, but these things are always tough to figure out where they're going, especially when they've only traded 3,100 shares in the pre-market.
Do you ever go to any of those places? Any
No.
DS? No.
I hate shopping, man. That's why I got married. So my wife goes there and she does all my shopping for me. I don't even like to going in and clothes. I'll have my wife go and buy the clothes. I'll try them on at home, and they don't fit. Then she'll go take them back and return them for. I hate shopping.
Lisa
Man.
won't do that, man. No, she'll. No,
Laura
no,
loves
no.
shopping though, so I don't want to take that away from her.
Well, there's this DSW. You go in there, you see a pair of shoes, you say, "Okay, I want these." And because they really don't have people helping you, you have to take out the box with your shoes in it. And then, you go in, I wear 10.5. Well, I go in, I pull out a box, and it's a 10.5 and an 11.
Oh.
So then you got to go searching. I just say the hell with it, and I go up and pay up at a store where at least they weigh up on you. But
you know what problem I always have too is I'm a size 12, and if I'm in the store and I'm looking at the shoes and I look, and the sizes will go up to like 11 or 11.5, and then 12. Oh, they don't have it in 12. I think they only make like 1 or 2 pairs over a size 12, which ticks me off. So that's why I don't like going in there either. I can never find the size that I want. So even if I do find the shoe that I like, I can't find the size that fits me. So it's shoe stores.
yeah, obviously there's a similar sentiment on the street. Little weary here that it's 3,000 shares is not a lot of volume. We hit 50.38 in the pre-market. Go back to this area back in February. Look at all those lows at 50.52, 50.71, 50.60, 50.73. Of course, you do have a lot of mo going, so it could easily crack through that area. Perhaps it would be the old dip and rip. You open up there, go below that level, and then come back up and use the low of the opening range as your parameter. On the other hand, boy, if you were been short this stock since the beginning of the year and just not being comfortable, 42 up to over 60, this is kind of a nice opportunity perhaps to cover some shorts.
I think you're going to find some buyers in this whole $50 area, just exactly for the reasons that you just cited. If you've got people that are shorted, that's going to get them back to even if they short at the beginning of the year. You had consolidation. Whenever stocks consolidate for a long time in an area, usually when they get back to that area, the stock will pause or hang out in that area. But sometimes momentum will take it through those areas, so it's not a perfect science. But we're just trying to highlight areas where we think the stock might slow down.
Okay, just back to the overall market, 17, almost a 17-point range in the S&Ps. I'm just looking for a grinder of a day. I just can't see them running this thing back up to 1347.50.
Yeah.
Nor, on the other hand, can I see them ramming this down to Friday's low. I think what you're going to have a situation here over the next few days is there's a lot of people that wish they didn't buy at 1300 or they missed the bottom in these stocks, and we're ready for the next Jeremy Siegel leg up to 15,000. That whole mentality is setting in. So perhaps I could be wrong. We could get down to Friday's lows. Once again, I'm keeping a close eye on this 1335 level. Would love to see three closes above there, and that would be confirmation we're moving back up to 1360. Any closing comments?
No, I think you've got it pretty good. I think you will find some buyers here eventually. I don't think we're going to fall all the way back down to 1300 and give back all last week's gains. You've got some shorts underwater. You've got a lot of investors that are, upset that they didn't buy it at 1300. So the thing gets down to 1320, 1325, and you start finding, kind of buyers all over the place just as people are picking their points. So I think if we start to peel back at down 10 or 12 points, I think we'll find some buyers.
Okay, that's our show for today, folks, and we'll be back with you tomorrow.